Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
What's up, Lock Shoppers? Coming to you from the Whiteout in Peg City, coming off an absolutely insane Game 1 last night. I'm Andrew Patterson, fresh with my white shades they gave out at the game last night, my Whiteout towel. What a night it was, and we bring in Pat Gregoire, who probably has less fond memories of the hockey action over the weekend, considering what happened with his beloved Toronto Maple Leafs. Patty, it's a new week. Monday, we move forward, but great to have you on the program. How are you doing?
Doing great. It's been a little while since Game 1 and the debacle that it was. I'm hoping the positive vibes that I had at the sportsbook this past weekend, especially yesterday, keeps rolling into tonight, and maybe that good luck can run off the buds. But what unbelievable action we saw last night. Couple Canadian fan bases stepped up big, electric atmosphere, and to be quite honest, that first period of the game that we're probably going to start talking with was truly one of the craziest periods of hockey I have ever seen in my life.
It was bananas. You, of course, are referring to Jets Avs, which finished 7-6 last night, if you missed it. 3-3 after one. And, I mean, listen, both teams are going to go back and say, okay, guys, that is not really the way we want to approach this series, considering the guys on the other side. But I can tell you, as someone that had a ticket that was in the building, it was an exhilarating roller coaster from start to finish. And, you know, it was 7-6. The Avs got a couple late ones to make it tight. I think there was still a pretty good level of confidence with the goals that went in the third period to give that team the lead. But I will be honest. I mean, looking out and seeing Jared Bendner roll out Nate McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen and Cale Makar over the boards, you realize that no lead really is safe. And the funniest thing about it all is Jets had the best goals against all season long. Connor Hellebuck's going to win the Vezina. He let in 6 goals last night, and I think he played a really good game.
Yeah, it's true.
It shows how dangerous the Avs can be. Like I heard Pat McAfee talking about it today, but how did it look on television from where you were at? Because I can tell you inside the building, it was absolutely nuts.
It looked amazing. It looked electric. The whiteout is always one of the best playoff traditions in sports, in my personal opinion. It sounded loud, and it started from the finish. And I think the wacky, crazy first period that it was really helped, elevate that. I don't know what it was like in the building, but it still felt like there was a buzz in the building, even though Colorado scored relatively quick with that Nichushkin goal. Had that actually not first goal, but I had him to score. That was the only Avs play that I had, because I'll be honest, after listening to Thursday's program with you and Jake, I was all in on this series. I'm all in on the Jets. I got a future on them to win. When we saw all that crazy movement just a couple weeks ago, I've got them to win this series. I had them to win yesterday. I had Girardi and Jets to win player prop, same game parlay. I did lie. Actually, I did go points from the point with Makar and Morrissey. That one cashed as well. It was a really, really good game. So the fact that I was cashing bets left and right maybe made my viewing experience that much better. But no, in all seriousness, from the videos that you guys were putting out, from the actual broadcast itself and other things circulating on social media, it looked like one of the most electrifying atmospheres, not just in hockey, but sports. It had such a college vibe to it with how wacky and crazy it was. It's not as big as the crowd as that you'll get the whiteouts in Penn State, but it certainly was giving the same vibes to me. It looked amazing, and I can believe you were in the crowd for it, but I can only imagine how awesome it would have been, being inside that building, feeling the electricity up close and personal.
Yeah, it was a hell of a way to start the playoffs here in Winnipeg, that's for sure. Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's see. Marshall, who was there last night, my ears are still ringing. And absolutely not, I did not start the wave. There's a cup, Penner's Pancakes. Huss did start the wave. So we picked the over 10.5 for tomorrow. I did see somebody. At the first intermission that had a sizable over bet on the game that was already nuked after what we had seen. And El Presidente, what's up? Said, where's the lock shop parlay found? Sorry, new to sports betting. Hey, welcome aboard. Great to have you with us. If you go to Coolbet, on the left side is a tab called exclusives. When we do lock shop parlays, that is where they'll be. There won't be anything up right now, but maybe by the time we go through these games, we'll have one for tonight. Hey, just before, because I think we're going to dive into hockey, and that's going to probably take us right up to the finish of the program. Pat, some love in the chat for the Greggy's golf special. Just quickly on this. Listen, we were riding with Ludwig again. It looked pretty good through 2 and 3 rounds. And once again, Scotty Scheffler is inevitable. I can't. He did it again. He did it again, and he did it walking away. I was at the plaza beforehand, having a few beers before the game with a whole bunch of friends, and I'm like, oh, geez, I wonder what's happening in the golf. And I look, and he's got a 4-stroke lead. And anyways, our guy Akshay kind of backdoor to top 20 to help cash for the big guy.
Man, I thought it was dead to rights. It was, looking, following it through the week, he was, hovering around that 30 spot. He wasn't really playing all that bad, to be quite honest. But on Sunday, he goes on an absolute heater. I think he birdied like 4 straight holes. He actually got as high, or I guess as low, depending on which way you want to say it, as T10. And then he then got into a little trouble. I think he finished 3 under on the day, which unfortunately ended up dropping him all the way to, I shouldn't say all the way, but just outside the top 20. But there was some sort of madness that ended up happening where a couple players lost some strokes, and somehow Boccia ended up T18 this morning. So it's a lock shop miracle once again. He finishes 3 under on the day, shoots a 68. And like I said, there must have been some guys who really must have blown up. Yesterday I was and again, folks, remember this ended up finishing this morning. Play couldn't continue because of the darkness, because of the delays of the weather earlier on in the day. But so I was traveling back from Halifax from our TSN NLL game, and that before we boarded on the plane, he was like about T12, I want to say. By the time I got off the plane, checked my phone, he then dropped back down to T22 and was in the clubhouse. So I thought it was done. I thought it was done. I thought it was dead. I thought it was completed. And then this morning when I woke up, I saw somehow he ends up T18. So we cash him top 10. We cashed in, no problem, Ludwig, and see, Tagala. Tagala ended up finishing solo too. And I told myself I was a crazy person for betting him again after the putrid showing. I don't want to call it putrid. It really wasn't that bad. It was just disappointing showing at Augusta. But this place here, the way that he plays, he's perfectly tailor-made to win this golf tournament. The only problem was Scotty Scheffler didn't drop out like we all thought he was going to. We all thought he was going to leave, and he hung in there. He dominated, and he becomes the first player to win back-to-back Masters, Green Jacket, and Plaid Jacket of the RBC Heritage since 1985 when Bernard Langer did it. So we're seeing some legendary stuff from from Scotty right now. It's remarkable. What is it now? 4 wins in his last 5 starts.
Yeah.
I talked to our odds makers, folks. I know he's not here this week, but starting now, if Scotty Scheffler is in a golf tournament, I think we have to offer winner without Scotty because, like,
Yes.
honestly, just the field minus Scotty and who comes in second. Because let's be honest, I don't even know what we're going to see his number next. It was what was it? Plus 400 this week?
400. It's probably going to go to like plus 350 or
It's going to be 350 next. Like he and that's why we probably shame on us for not betting on him. And I know we were very scared that he was going to withdraw because of the baby or just the fact he deserves a break. And but this is this was an elevated event, a signature event.
We don't bet golf to bet plus 400 favorites. I mean, this is a new world.
But he's inevitable. Right, it is a new world. We got to get used to it. It's Scotty's world, and we're just living in it. And I
remember the start of the year. Remember the start of the year was plus one, like 150 to 1, 200 to 1, 100 to 1, and now the most chalkiest favorite ever just keeps on getting it done each and every week. Where are we at this week on tour?
We are at the Zurich Classic of New Orleans. That is actually it's a pretty unique event.
Is this the tag team event?
It is the tag team event, and I guess I couldn't say it now. Coolbet's going to be live on location, so we've got a trip planned. So we're going to be down in New Orleans. We're going to be shooting some content. Brett Lowther, one of our new ambassadors, is going to be there. So we've got some golf planned. On Thursday, we'll be boots on the ground at the event itself. So keep an eye to our socials. Keep an eye to Jake and I's socials, to Brett's socials as well. We're going to be producing some content down there. And Adam Svensson not at this event, but Taylor Pendrith and his boy, his country mate and his university mate, good friend Corey Connors, they are the tag team for this week. So I'm looking forward to following those two guys around. Taylor ended up finishing, I think, T11 at the other golf tournament in Punta Cana. So it was a pretty solid result for him there. So the fact that we're going to be able to see Taylor Pendrith pipe the ball off the driver, and then Corey Connors, who is one of the best second hitters in the game with his irons, I think it could be a pretty deadly duo at the Zurich this week.
Well, definitely, I'm jealous, and we will look forward to all that content coming out of New Orleans, of all places, one of the great cities in the world. I said I'm unfortunate sad that we're missing this one, but maybe we'll be at New Orleans later on for a certain big football game.
Yes,
to begin 2025.
And hey, I knew it would have been tough. I know New Orleans is one of your favorite spots, but you've got a bigger task at hand with what's going on with Winnipeg. But don't worry. I think that other
right now. Yeah, I'm already looking at flights to Denver on Friday to see if we might be able to mix it up this weekend on the road.
I like that.
Carl Schwartz, shout out to you, my man. Thanks so much. Just liked and subscribed. Richard Croft is here. Hello, Lock Shoppers. Cowboy, what is going on? Rod Z. We've got some, Nim Jiam. Ooh, that's a nice tip. Nice tip. My cough's actually gotten a lot better over the last week or so. I had something that just did not go away for about a month. And then Penner's Pancakes. Home teams, 8-0 start. I mean, that's the huge story.
It's wild.
I actually heard with NBA, I believe the home teams were 14-0 on the weekend.
That's obscene. That's obscene. You know what that means? Over the next couple of games, we're due to see some of these OA teams get something done here. I don't know if it's today. I don't know what you like on the board. I think that's probably a good way where we can dive into things here. But it has been remarkable, not just how well the home teams have played, but the atmospheres. And I don't know if you're a firm believer of it. I know some people do, some people don't, about home ice advantage. I think in game one, it plays such a big role, especially when you have a place like Winnipeg, especially when you have a place, even, hey, we give a lot of shit to Canucks fans for how, flaky they can be or how fair weather they can be. They showed up big time. Last night, They were all in. Where the streets has no names, they brought that back with the horn coming on the ice with the towels. It was electric in there as well. So
I'm
kudos to
glad the
them.
fans did. I was looking
Yeah.
at ticket prices in Vancouver. Like the upper bowl was like $308.
Yeah,
Like I
that's not
guess I'm
surprising.
sort of lucky. It's not like tickets were cheap here either, but having seasons got the, whatever the season ticket holder price on it. But my God, I mean, that's the one thing. If you go deep in the playoffs, your fan base is essentially bankrupt because the tickets are so expensive as we get through it. But
We know that all too well in Toronto, man.
Yeah.
Preach to the choir.
Well, the thing is, it's all the suits that are buying up the tickets in Toronto. That's why all the real fans go to Buffalo for the game, because that's where they can actually afford to get in. But listen, coming out of the weekend, we mentioned, it was all the home teams getting wins yesterday. I've got props on the Canes and Rangers to have short series, so nice to see those teams both get the win. The one team, and this is on me, I don't know what I was thinking, but I actually had a really good feeling for the Leafs going into Saturday night. I had them on a couple tickets, and it did not happen. And I don't know. I have no skin in the game. I'm not a Leaf hater. I'm not a Leaf fan. I kind of thought that they played better, certainly than the score indicated. I thought they were in that game. It wasn't like they just got ran over. But I was listening to Merrick say earlier, Boston got one. And then it was sort of, back and forth chances on both sides. And then it just sort of became another Boston-Toronto game. And the next thing you know, it's 4-0. And that's that. I still think that these guys can play with them. The biggest story right now is what the hell, where was William Nylander? Guy didn't miss a game or a shift all season long. And all of a sudden he's not out there in game number one. Was an issue, certainly, if you had props for it. If you picked him in a hockey playoff pool. But anyways, that's it. But listen, I think we should start off with what I think the main event for everyone here in the Lock Shop is today.
Yes.
The Oilers Kings. And the great thing is, before we get to tonight's game, the series prices are still up right now. So, Lock Shoppers, if you haven't already gotten over to Coolbet and made your decision on the series, here's what we've got cooking for you. The Oilers are minus 222 to win the series. LA is plus 180. I kind of like I like the Oilers in this. I think they're very familiar with the Kings. They've done it before. Although these series have been slogs for Edmonton in the past. I don't know. I just feel like this team is more prepared and ready to go. And I'm not sure the Kings are as good as they've been in the past. Certainly aren't as deep, post PLD trade. I don't mind the Oilers minus 1.5 in the series. I think they can win this one in 6 or less. I would be surprised if this one goes the distance. So I think that's probably where I'm looking at for a little bit of value. But what's interesting is we've got a bunch of goal and props for it. If you Leon Draisaitl, total goals in the series 2.5. The over is minus 133. Kempe, who's a big time player for LA, if he can get 3, it's plus 155. Fiala, the line's 1.5 at minus 161. But as far as the Oilers go, Zach Hyman over 2.5 minus 135. Same thing for Connor McDavid. Bouchard minus 185 for over a half a goal. And Zach Hyman, point machine, over 6.5 points, plus 260. I think the worry about that is that the series is short and finishes up. But you've got head-to-head goals in series, pitting Draisaitl versus Kopitar, Hyman versus Fiala, McDavid versus Kempe. And then final game of the series, I don't even mind 5, to be honest. If the Oilers can jump on it, plus 240 would be very, very important to do it. But all there. Oh, McDavid total points in series, 9.5.
Crazy.
The number.
Absolutely nuts.
The number. That's why he's the best in the world, folks. And Draisaitl is 6.5. Draisaitl traditionally has exploded in the playoffs. He is a guy that absolutely comes through. But what do you hit us up in the chat with your thoughts on this series, by the way. Give us a prediction. And of course, if you want to note the odds for that prediction over at Coolbet do that as well. What are you thinking about for the Oil here, Patty?
I tend to agree with you. I think this is going to be a short series. You mentioned though that like in the past the Kings have given the Oilers some fits, so I think it probably that 5 game when you mentioned that, I think that's something that really jumped out to me. In terms of the game tonight, maybe we'll get to that in just a little bit, but I'm just looking over some of those series prices that you talked. That Hyman at over 2.5 at -135. Just that is staring at me in the face while I look over it. He might hit that tonight. You took the words right out of my mouth. He could get that tonight. And so that's going to be an absolute no-brainer for me as well. I do like Draisaitl's over in points. He's over 2.5 goals at -133. Again, another bet that I really like as well. Because, all indications show that, they're going to continue to keep McDavid and Draisaitl away from each other, which I think helps big time, especially considering you really put LA into a bit of a mental pretzel because now line matching becomes an absolute problem. Who are you going to put up against both these lines when you can roll those guys out? So for me, I think those are probably my 2 favorites: the over on Draisaitl's points, but McDavid over Hyman over 2.5 goals. That's an absolute no brainer for me, and I think I would sprinkle this thing to end in 5. Maybe it ends in 6. I just don't see how this goes the distance. I
the
really,
-1.5
don't.
-1.5. You win the series if they win in 4, 5, or 6. I mean, it's basically a bet against the Kings forcing a 7th game because I think most of us agree the Oilers are winning this game, or the Oilers are winning the series.
There's going to be a game though that LA Kopitar is going to have a great showing where he really, really puts the handcuffs on McDavid. We don't see that too often, or if he's lined up against Draisaitl's line. I think we're going to see a game where they really do clog it up and they're able to slow this down, but they can't keep it up all series long. They really can't. And I know there is some concerns about this group defensively and goaltending. Me personally, I don't think the LA Kings really pose that problem. I think if that starts to show up, if those red flags start to be raised, that's going to be when, maybe they face the Golden Knights, or when they face a team like Winnipeg, a Colorado, some of those other teams are a little more explosive. I know they've got some guys who can bury the puck, but this is not a team where I think the Oilers are going to be exposed from at all. I totally agree with you here.
Hey, chat. I also want your take on the other series that gets underway tonight, Dallas at Vegas. And this line moved slightly over the course of the weekend. And I have to admit, I'm a little surprised at the way that it went. This was Dallas -130, Vegas +110. It's now Dallas -137 and Vegas +115, despite the fact that through a series of miracles, Mark Stone and the rest of the Vegas injured list somehow seemingly ready to come back and get going for game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Funny how that works.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Just the power of healing and positive thought. Couldn't go in game 82, but now suddenly they're ready to go. I mean, this is a brutal draw for Dallas. And
Awful.
We talked about Vegas blowing it that final night against the Anaheim Ducks. I mean, this is the group of death right now. I mean, Dallas, Winnipeg, Colorado all had 108, 110-point seasons. And the Vegas Golden Knights are the defending Stanley Cup champions and a real problem. Dallas probably deserved a better opponent, but this is who they got, Pat. What a test right now for the Stars, who've had this amazing season, but now have to go head-to-head with the champs in round 1, just as they're getting healthy all of a sudden.
Yeah, and we were talking about, who do the Oilers want to see? Is it do they want LA? Do they want Vegas? And I understood the line of thinking that, well, Vegas is going to, this is the time to jump on them. Well, as no surprise, they're getting healthy out of nowhere. And I think Dallas just gets absolutely screwed here. I really liked Dallas. I was going to place a future on them. I think it was at plus 750, plus 800. I just couldn't stomach it betting them at that number, knowing that they're going to have to start things off with this Vegas team who could ultimately take a run back at it and go back to back here if everyone's healthy. And all the indications show they're getting healthier and healthier. I love this series. Doesn't matter who wins. I love this to go to game 7 at plus 190. I know you probably want a bigger number for that, but just with how great both these teams are, and it's the first round, we're always going to see one or two. That's something that you and Jake, hammered home quite a bit. So for this to be decided in 7 plus 190, you probably want to get it closer to plus 210. I get it, but hey, I would take the plus 190. Cheer that you're going to get a great series. And if you are a Jets fan and if you're an Oilers fan, you want to see either of these teams just get the absolute snot beaten out of each other and have the longest ride to whenever you have to play this team, because if this is a quick series, it's more time for these guys to rest. But I just I don't see how this one doesn't go 7, at least 6. If you want to hedge your bet and bet maybe try to go both of them at plus 190. But I don't know. Am I wrong here? Am I putting too much stock in Vegas from what we've seen in years past? I really think I love Dallas. I really do. I just think this is going to be a long one.
Yeah, plus 190. Plus 190 on over 6.5 games. Yeah, and plus 190 to end in 7. Like this ain't gonna be. It's not gonna be a short series. We'll get to game 1 in a minute. By the way, just before we dive into tonight's actual games, the aftermath of the Bruins win in game 1 has left the series price at Bruins minus 250, Leafs at plus 205. So if you are a Leaf believer, think, hey, big deal. They lost one game on the road. You're not in danger until you lose at home. You can jump on the Leafs right now at plus 205. Listen, before we get into the games, let me fire out the key word today. The key word for our big contest, courtesy of the folks at Edmonton Sports Talk, as well as presented by Fly YEG in the LVCA. Don't forget, folks, nonstop flights over 50 destinations. Your sports trip starts with a nonstop flight from Fly YEG. You listen for the keyword 4 times a day. This is one of those times, gang. And this deals with playing cards as well as what happened in the games last night. Today's keyword is hit. Hit. So what you need to do is text hit to 780-218-9999. Zach Takamanawanic will get the qualifier in about 20 minutes or so when we are finished up in the lock shop again. Today's keyword is hit. And go to www.flyYEG.com for more. All right, Patty, let's dive into these games tonight. 4 games on the docket. We start off with the Leafs at the Bruins. Boston minus 134. The Leafs plus 114. Relatively similar numbers to the first game. I mean, partly I would love the Leafs to win tonight just because Jake tomorrow on the lock shop is going to be... maybe it'd be funny for content, but if the Leafs go down 2-0 with a disappointing game, the Jake Boland Moss show tomorrow in the lock shop will be memorable. But how are you feeling about this? Can they bounce back from maybe not a terrible game, but one that really they weren't really in for the better part of the second half against a Boston team that just seems to know what to do when they play the blue and white?
Going to that game, I kind of had it as a scheduled loss anyways, just because game 1 in Boston, it's a tough place to play any way you slice it. And it is frustrating the way that they did lose, because you kind of are right. Like, I thought Austin Matthews still played really well. Again, didn't score, so who cares? It just felt like some of their depth players made some really costly errors took some really costly penalties, and the Bruins just capitalized as good teams tend to do. So I think they have a lot of work to clean some things up. But it really, when you look at the score and you watch the tape back, and I'm not going to be a dork here and say, well, look at the deserve to win meter or take a look at the charts, because if you do, the Leafs should have won, and probably should have won by a couple of goals if you look
Their
at that. But at the end
expected
of the
goals
day,
were great.
exactly. But how many goals did they actually score? Not how many did they expect to score. That doesn't mean jack shit. So for me, they got to come out here. They have to start on time. And I look back at this game when you see Austin Matthews miss that empty net and hit the side of the net, hit the post. That puck goes in. I don't know if the Leafs probably don't win the game, but it certainly goes completely different because Boston scores the very next possession and just the game is turned on its head. So if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs here, I really wish William Nylander was in the lineup. I really would love to know what the hell is actually going on with Willie. There's tinfoil hat in Leafland right now on Twitter saying he's actually been benched because they didn't like how he played over the 10 games.
Can you imagine?
If that's the case, Sheldon Keefe doesn't deserve a job.
Fire
And we
the
can have
coach
that
right
conversation. We can have that conversation after this series anyways. But best players got to be their best players. Simple enough. Mitch Marner was invisible. If you told me Mitch Marner was actually the one who was sitting, I would have agreed.
now.
He was totally invisible, and he is a guy that time after time has proven that a lot of the naysayers saying that he's not a big time performer, and he's kind of proving it. So for me personally, what I'm going to do, because I never bet on the Leafs, I am going to bet an emotional hedge here. I'm not betting on the Bruins, but I'm going to bet Mitch Marner under half a point at plus 171. Because I think if Mitch Marner gets on the board and Mitch Marner plays like we've seen him in the regular season, the Toronto Maple Leafs will win this game and potentially get this series back on track. If he's quiet again, if he's silent, they're not winning this game. They're not winning this series. So I will emotionally hedge here with Marner under half a point, and that just moved. So I clearly just shook the lines there.
I see that it did just move. Bruins now minus 141 and Leafs plus 120. This line literally just moved as we were talking about it.
And the Marner line just moved to plus 167, 67. There's the omen right there. So I'm taking the under there. I'm gonna emotionally hedge because if he ends up having a game, I'm okay with losing some shekels there. Austin Matthews minus 121. That's still too much for me, I think, in the playoffs for me to bet. But I would look to a Tyler Bertuzzi plus 270. He had a bunch of chances. He couldn't convert. He was one of the guys that was mixing it up. I like the fight that he showed. And I mean, the Bruins fans know more than anyone. That guy's a playoff performer. He was great for them down the stretch. I think he's going to have to be big as well. So give me Bertuzzi plus 270. And then I know Jake is just screaming at his monitor as I was laying out that bet, but I'm taking Marner under a point plus 167.
You know, I don't mind Jake DeBrusk to score. He seems to be all over it at a huge
game. Oh, he's a Leaf. He's a Leaf killer too. He's an absolute Leaf killer too.
Plus 290. I figured it'd be a shorter number than that. I'm going to jump on. I will jump on a Jake DeBrusk goal. As far as the games and maybe putting together a parlay, I mean, everyone's just talking about how home teams have rolled today. I mean, I think we like Edmonton. Do we like Dallas in game one? I think Dallas in game one. You know, like we'll see how Vegas looks. There'll be a bunch of guys that are coming back that haven't played in a while. So I think you're probably better off getting on Dallas right now. The Hurricanes at minus 240. If we put those together, Dallas, Edmonton, and Carolina, just straight up money line to win plus 288. So we could get on, like if we wanted to just leave the Boston game, Toronto game off of the board, and jump on the Canes, Stars, and Oilers to keep the home cooking going. Either that, or if we wanted to add in a puck line, like I think I could feel the Carolina puck line. Like if we were gonna pick a puck line, it's either Carolina or Edmonton. I think I might feel better about the Carolina one. I mean, the Islanders were tight with them. I think Carolina's going to be better. Like they didn't have a lot of shots through the first 2 periods of the game. They got one in the third and then got the empty netter to clear the puck line on that one. If we take the Canes -1.5 along with Edmonton and Dallas, we get it up to +503. I'm good. I'm good either way. I don't know what your thoughts are, Patty.
I just hate taking puck lines in playoff games, especially like. I think this is a short series, but the Islanders are a team that like to play close games.
They do. They do. I mean, it is somewhat dangerous. I mean, I guess if we go to +288, we'll probably get that at 3.25 or something like that for the folks and just ride with it that way.
I think so. I really do. I mean, Oilers maybe money line that's at plus or sorry, puck line. That would bump us up to, what would it be here? Let me quick little 521 if we wanted to do that. Or if we want to just keep it a little bit safer and get, like you said, probably 325-ish. I'm okay with that as well. I feel a little more confident. It's a playoffs, guys, and I know this trend of the home teams. I like it. I do think one of these games will be bucked. But I don't know if it's any of these three. Maybe it's the Maple Leaf, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not today. Maybe it's not until tomorrow we see this train come to an end. But we're going to
go with the 3-gamer. We're going to go with the 3-gamer. We're going to leave the Leafs Bruins off. However, if you do want to ride with the home teams and go all 4, a Dallas, Edmonton, Carolina, Boston moneyline parlay would pay +563. But hang tight. We will take the Bruins out. We'll see what our friends can do when it comes to the boost, and we'll get that sucker in the Lock Shop exclusives. So a little simpler today. We're taking the 3 home faves, just kind of riding this trend. Dallas, Edmonton, Carolina tonight. The number will be up a little later on in the Coolbet exclusives. Quickly, I just want to quickly touch on the NBA. And there are, we've got another 3 games tonight. Magic Cleveland, Sixers and Knicks, and the Lakers and Nuggets. This is another question for the chat. I hope many of you utilize the 20% boost for NHL or NBA playoff bets. You get one a weekend. Let me know in the chat what you did. Oh, Jake Bowen Moss, we will have all 4 home teams boosted in the exclusives as well.
Yes.
So that's going to be our Lock Shop exclusive, but then check the Coolbet exclusive. So I mean, we did it at +563. That'll probably be better than 6-1. Maybe we will touch on that. But you know what I did for my 20% boost? I used it on a future.
Ooh.
Nuggets to win the NBA title.
Yeah, I like that.
It was +300. And then with the boost, I mean, that 20% boost is pretty significant on it. I think I put $100 down and it would have normally paid 300. And then with the boost, it was actually an extra 50. So that's the one thing. I mean, especially if you're someone that makes a whole bunch of wagers on different games and series, use that one wisely on a spot where you think is good, or maybe just something that's tied in on a bigger number that, you really get to maximize that boost. But I mean, I haven't paid very much attention to most of the NBA, full disclosure. I love the Nuggets. I'm not a believer in the Celtics. The Joker continues to rewrite history. And as long as Jamal Murray is healthy, I think they're the best team in the NBA. And the fact that they've done it before makes them that much harder to beat. So I love that Nuggets boost. I don't play a lot of individual games, but now I got a horse to ride in the NBA playoffs to throughout. And certainly for the fans in Denver and Colorado today, I'm sort of hoping that the Nuggets can give them some good things to cheer about, because I'm hoping that their hockey team does not give them anything for that. I don't know if you paid much attention to the games on the weekend, Patty, but any thoughts on the NBA playoffs right now as we get into a night of 3 games, including Sixers and Knicks?
I'm kind of like you. Like I really don't, unless the Raptors are in, I really don't start dialing into the playoffs until we kind of get going. The NBA is almost the opposite of the NHL. Like the NHL first round is probably the best product out there in sports.
Yeah, right.
It's probably the worst product in sports when it comes to the NBA, and it really doesn't start getting really good until the semis and the NBA finals. With that being said, though, from a betting perspective, sometimes you can kind of find some lines here that might be in your favor. And for me, the Nuggets, I think you could, if you're afraid of the full number, but them -7 against the Lakers, I feel like we're getting a little bit of a LeBron bump there. I think this should be way higher. This should be way higher.
Nuggets won by 11 in the in their first game, and the fourth quarter was just sort of a soft. I mean, once that game got to the third quarter, they ran away with it. I think, what was it? Yeah, they 14-point differential in the third quarter. I just think that they're able to flex at that point. And because of the age of LeBron, if this one doesn't look like they're really in it, I think they have the potential to maybe try to save the energy, try and get their guys back on home ice, or a home court, I should say, and maybe ditch it. So
yeah,
I'm with you on the Nuggets tonight. I'm with you on the Nuggets tonight. And of course, I'm now officially a Nuggets guy because of the future that I use the 20% weekend bonus on.
And I love that, and I'm glad you brought that up. The weekend win boost, I thought, it's an awesome opportunity for fans just to get a little extra sprinkle on it. That's the play to do it. Honestly, that's a play to do it. Whether you use it on a future, whether you use it on a money line that you'd probably want to get a little more juice on it, I think that's probably your best bet. Or if there's a player prop that, let's say it's hovering around that -150, and you don't like playing a prop at -150, give it a little extra boost. You can also use it on a parlay as well. If you're looking for, a money line parlay and you want a little more juice to it, or hey, maybe you're shooting for the stars and you're looking at an all-home team, 3 games in the NBA and 4 in the NHL tonight, and hitting that, and they're getting a little greedy and want a little extra. Again, not tonight because it is only for the weekend, but you get what I'm saying. So you can use it in any way you want, Huss, but that's a great way that you kind of line that out, that's what you want to do. For me tonight, a play that I like in the NBA, just after talking this one through, I like money line, Nuggets, Knicks. You get that to -107. I know the 76ers are a team that over the last few years, we've talked about them being a great team and a pesky team. They've ran into a lot of injuries. So for me, and I just think this Knicks team is kind of fun to watch. So Knicks, Nuggets, -107 parlay. But again, I really like Nuggets to cover that number, -7. I think we're getting a LeBron bump on the number.
Yeah, Cleveland's -213 for the game tonight. And listen, if you want to go like a little chalky, but 5 games, here's another one. If you want to go NBA and NHL, if you're riding these home teams, Cleveland Cavaliers money line -213, Knicks -227, Nuggets -294, Hurricanes -240, and Oilers -170. So the Oilers are the shortest favorite of those groups, of those teams. It's +538. +538. So I think you can count on a little bomb from me on that. And then I will wait to play the Lock Shop Partner Parlay when we fire the exclusives up right now. What's Jake's confidence or concentration level right now? How's he able to get through the day knowing what's to come tonight at 7 p.m. from the TD Garden?
You know what? I think he's actually using work as a distraction to keep his mind level right now, because The group chat was a little bit of a dumpster fire, I'll be quite honest. Positive vibes only, maybe only lasted 2 minutes in that group chat. So, but you gotta, that's going to be the mantra coming in tonight. Positive vibes only. Although it's tough to be positive with the track record that this group has. But I said it. They're not getting swept. They're not going to lose in 5. What's going to happen here is the fact of the matter is they're going to break this fan base's heart as tragic as possible. They're going to lose in 7 games. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Well, that might mean they win. We kept that one off of the partner parlay tonight. I still don't know what to expect. I know the Leafs have a few good games in them. Whether they're able to drop one tonight in Boston, I guess we will see. But we're rolling with the other 3 games. Dallas, Edmonton, Carolina, waiting for the boost. Get that in the Coolbet exclusives. And then check the other exclusives. If you do want all of those home games, you can do it. And as I said, I just put together that minus 563 with the 3 NBA home favorites, along with Carolina and Edmonton at plus 563. Patty, good luck to your boys tonight.
Thank you.
Listen, I want to see a great series. And I would love to see Jake come in tomorrow in full "we're back" mode with the series tied 1-1. That's why we're keeping it off the parlay. But Oiler fans, have fun tonight. Winnipeg and Vancouver certainly set the bar pretty high. I expect nothing less from the fans at Rogers Arena tonight. That should be bedlam. And, of course, you can bet on your team over at Coolbet. Use the promo code LOCKSHOP if you haven't played before. 100% bonus up to $200 on your first one. Everyone in the chat, enjoy the games tonight. Patty, thanks for doing this. And JBM tomorrow, win or lose in the lock shop with me. Dusty back a little later on this week. That's going to do it. We're going to turn it over to Zach Awanek and the crew. I see Tommy Gazzola getting ready for a little oil stream coming up at Edmonton Sports Talk. And hey, if you want to hear more about the Jets' big win against the Avalanche last night, join me coming up top of the hour over at Winnipeg Sports Talk live on YouTube. Patty, have a great one. Thanks, Lock Shoppers. Good luck tonight. Let's hit that exclusive. Enjoy the playoffs. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, boys, for handling the lock shop once again. Today, it is now time. I'm Matt Awanek, by the way. It is time now for the EST keyword flyaway giveaway for the lock shop for today. Huss has handed out the keyword. Zach comes on the phone right now looking at, just entering the number so we could call one of you right away as we want to get you in the mix to go to Las Vegas. 2 nonstop flights to Vegas, 3 nights accommodations, tickets to Cirque, all thanks to our wonderful partners, FlyYEG, over 50 nonstop flights to sports destination of your choice, as well as LVCVA out in Vegas. We're giving this away on Fridays. We're down to the last few entries. We've got the next one coming up on the oil stream with myself and Tom Gazzola. Then we've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 chances all 3 of those days. And then that's it. Friday morning show, Dustin Nielsen, Lieutenant Eric. I think that's going to be Zach to come. Actually might be. Or is that... Let me check my schedule. No, Trev's going to win. YTT. They'll give someone a call on Friday, and they will be the lucky winner of going to Las Vegas. If you are the big winner, you'll have 2 months to book, but you have within a year to travel. So our first big giveaway coming down to the final stretch right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Before Zach gets the person on our qualifier on the line for the keyword, reminder, we do got the GCL Oil Stream pregame show later tonight. Tommy will be live Hudson's West Edmonton Mall on Bourbon Street, 6:30. He'll get you set for the game with Matt Cassian and YTT. He'll also be back there for the post game. So come on out. A bunch of us will be there as well for the game. When the Oilers take on the Kings later tonight, do it at Hudson's in the presence of Tom Gazzola and a bunch of us from Edmonton Sports Talk. And then in about 7 minutes' time, myself and Tom Gazzola will update you on everything that happened down at practice. It's an optional skate today for the Edmonton Oilers as they get set for Game 1 between the LA Kings later tonight. Don't know if the Kings got on the ice or anything yet, if Tom is able to catch up with that. But we'll have Tommy on the Oil Stream right away here on Edmonton Sports Talk live on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, as well as those watching on YouTube. But we've just now got to qualify someone for the EST Flyaway. Zach comes just connecting them to the board right now. Are we all good to go there, Zach?
I think so.
Who do we got on the line?
Garrett's on the line here.
Garrett, congratulations. You're in the mix for the trip to Las Vegas. Have you ever been before?
Yes, I have.
Have you? And have you been trying to get into this contest the entire time?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I'm a daily listener.
Perfect. Is this the first? Is the first time you got in, or is this a multi? Oh, it is the first time. Well, congratulations. You got in final week. If you could go to Vegas, who would you bring with you, and what would you want to do when you got to Vegas first?
Probably my wife, and probably go to our Oilers team.
Nice. Well, congratulations. You're in the mix, like I said. So keep your phone on Friday morning because if you are the big grand prize winner, the boys will give you a call, let you know that you're off to Vegas.
All right. Thank you very much.
Best of luck there. And like I said, next chance to qualify. Coming up next on the Oil Stream with myself and Tom Gazzola. And then 4 more days of qualifying till we give this away on Friday. On behalf of Huss, Pat Gregoire from Coolbet, Matt, alongside Zach to come. Thanks for tuning into the Lock Shop here on Edmonton Sports Talk. The Oil Stream will be starting up in just a few minutes.